चरणे नूपुरबाजे
मुकुंद माधव जाधव हरि बोले न बोल रे बदन बोरे
मुकुंद माधव जाधव हरि बोले न बोल रे
बदन बोरे मिचे निदा बसे गेलो रे रती दिवस शारीर साजे
मिचे निदा बसे
गेलो
रे राती दिवस शरीर साजे
ए मन दुर्लभ मानव देहा फाय की खोर भवन के
एमन दुर्लभ
मानव देह पापिया की करो
भावना के हो
एबे न भजिले जशोद सुत चरमे पदिबिलाजे
एबे न भजिले यशोदा सुत चरणे परिबेलाजे
उदित तापण होइले आस्त दिन गेलो बोली होए बेबियास्त
उदिते तापन
होइले
आस्त दीन बोलो बोली होइबे व्यस्ता
आबे केनो एबे आलस होय न भज हृदय राजे
ताबे केनो एबे अलसा होए ना भज हृदय राजे
जीवन अनित्य जनहसार थाहे नाना विधा विपद भार
जीवन अनित्य जनसार ताहे नाना विद्या विपद भार
नामाश्रया कोरी जतने तुमी ताकहा आपन काजे
नामाश्रया करी जातने
तुमी ठाको
कहा आपन काजे
जीवेर कल्याण साधन काम जगते आशिये मधुर नाम
जीवेरे कल्याण
साधन काम
जगते असिये
मधुर नाम
अविद्यतिमिरा तापन रूपे हृद्गगने विराजे
अविद्यति मेरा तापन रूपे हृदय गगन विराजे
कृष्ण नाम सुधा कोरियपान जुदा भक्ति विनोद प्राण
कृष्ण नाम Sudha Kariyapan Jurao Bhakti Vinod Pran
Nama bina kichu nahi ko ar chauda bhuvana maje.
Naam bina kichu nahi koraro Chauda bhuvan manje.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajak Acharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai,
Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai,
ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai,
Naam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त बिंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय
Jai,
जमुना माई की जय
Jai,
तुलसी देवी की जय
Jai,
भक्ति देवी की जय
Jai,
समवेता भक्त वृंद की जय
Jai.
गौर प्रेम आनंदे
Hari, Hari Bol.
all glories to the assembled devotees
Hare Krishna,
all glories to the assembled devotees
Hare Krishna,
all glories to the assembled devotees
Hare Krishna.
all glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Datta Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Jaya
Datta
Dvaita
Chandra Jaya
Jaya
Gaur
Gora
Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya
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 Sri
Sri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Jaya
Jaya
Nityananda
Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Jaya
Datta
Dvaita
Chandra
Chandra
Jaya
Jaya
Gaur
Gora
Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda
We are studying Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Lord instructs Sanatan Goswami in Varanasi, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, text number
248.
248. Yes, thank you.
Should I start?
Yeah.
অনন্ত অবতার কৃষ্ণের নাহি গণন শাখা চন্দ্র ন্যায় করি দিগদর্শন
There are innumerable incarnations of Krishna, and there's no possibility of counting them. We can simply indicate them by giving the example of the moon and the branches of a tree. Purport. Although the moon appears to be located in the branches of a tree, it is actually situated very far away. Similarly, none of the avatars or incarnations of Lord Krishna are within the material world, but they are visible by the causeless mercy of the Lord. We should not consider them to belong to this material world. as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, avajananti mam mudha manusim tanum ashrita param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 11th verse. Avatars descend of their own free will, and although they may act like ordinary human beings, they do not belong to this material world. Lord Krishna and his avatars can be understood only by the grace of the Lord. Nayam atma pravachanena labjo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena jam evaisha vinute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivinute tanum svam. That means the Supreme Lord is not obtained by expert explanations, by vast intelligence, nor even by much hearing of the Shruti, Shastras. He is obtained only by one who he himself chooses. Then the next, this is a famous verse here. Atapi te deva padam bhujam dvaya prashada leshanugrahita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanya eko pichiram vichinvam. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this the first of those two quotations, it reminds me of Srila Prabhupada would often quote his spiritual master, don't try to see God. You know this one? You know, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God will want to come and see you. Yeah. To see a great person, a king or a president, if you want to go see them and they're not interested in seeing you, it'll be very, very difficult. But if they want to see you, then there's no obstacle for them. So this is the secret of devotional service, and how do we influence Krishna to want to see us? By our devotional service and our pure devotional attitude. Then this next line, this next verse, this is a quotation. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't know if anybody knows where this one comes from. The one that's a little below. We don't see it here. Atapi te deva padam bhujam dvaya. Yeah, there. Thank you. Yeah. You know this one? Ram Kumar.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
You know where this one is from? I know it's Srimad Bhagavatam, but
yeah,
it's specifically this verse, which is quite a famous verse. It's from Lord Brahma's prayers after he stole the calves and the cowherd boys, and then he got caught by Krishna, and then he was surrendering to Lord Krishna there in Vrindavan, and he said this, that without being favored by even a slight trace of mercy from your lotus feet, only that person can understand your greatness. So this is the real secret of bhakti. Devotional service is not a mechanical process. It's not that one can just do X number of things and then automatically one can, then Krishna is obliged to reveal himself. But devotional service is, continual devotional service is meant to soften the heart so that the dirty things which are encrusted there get cleaned off. It softens the heart so that we have the real and appropriate attitude towards approaching Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is great, we are small, and our job is to serve him. We have no other business. When Sudama, who was Lord Krishna's friend in his childhood, went to visit him in Dwarka, he was very poor, and he brought some poha with him. And then when he was embraced by Lord Krishna, he said, Kvaham, who am I? Kvaham, who am I? Daridra. Daridra means very low-born. Papiyan. Papiyan means I'm very sinful. Kva Krishna. And who is Krishna? Sriniketana, the husband of the goddess of fortune. Brahmabandhu iti smaham. I'm just a unqualified posing person, a friend of the Brahminical people. I'm not a qualified Brahmin. Bahubhyam parirambita. But how is it? So how is it that the Lord, the Supreme Lord, the husband of the goddess of fortune, has now embraced me? So he was feeling very unqualified, but because of that, he had the mercy, he attained the mercy of Krishna. You see. So this is, how do one get the mercy of Krishna? Further, we understand that's because when you get the mercy of Krishna, you can do that by getting the mercy of the spiritual master. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasada nagati kutopi. With the mercy of your guru, you can get the mercy of Krishna. But without that mercy, we are nowhere. So therefore, it's considered the to please the spiritual master is as good as pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is the direct he's representing Lord Krishna. So for the disciple, that's a very important mission in life. There's, even if a person is not very learned or qualified in other ways, if we just keep that intention foremost in our mind, in our heart, then there's possibility that Krishna can be satisfied. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, he was staying at what temple was that in South India he was living for during the rainy season? Biggest temple there in South India.
Ranganath Swami.
Very good, thank you. Ranganath. So he was going daily to the temple, and outside the temple there was a Brahmin who was reading the Bhagavad Gita, reciting the Bhagavad Gita there. And because he wasn't literate in Sanskrit, he wasn't pronouncing and with the proper accent and meter many of the slokas, and people would joke with him and laugh at him. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came by one day, and he said, well, what are you doing, Brahmin? He said, well, I am reading the Bhagavad Gita, every day as my spiritual master ordered to me. But people, because I'm not really literate and I can't understand things properly and not speak it properly, people make fun. But because my spiritual master ordered me to read all 18 chapters every day, I'm doing so according to his order. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, that's very good, but I see that even though you don't understand, you're crying. Why is that? And what was his response? Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
Because when I see, even though I don't understand anything properly, but when I see how Lord Krishna is serving Arjuna as a charioteer, the tears comes from my heart, from my eyes.
Yes, yes. So Krishna is so kind that he's reciprocating with his devotee, taking the position of his charioteer, even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh, this is very wonderful to me. So Lord Chaitanya then said, well, you are the real knower of the Bhagavad Gita, even though you may not understand, the different Sanskrit words here and there. That's reiterated in the Gita itself. Lord Krishna says, I think you know the verse, Naham Veda na tapasa na danena na chejiya. He said, it's not by a study of the Vedas, not by austerity, tapasa, na danena, not by charity, na chejiya, not by worship. It's not by these means that you can see me as I am. How can you see me? Bhaktyat vananyaya shakya. It's only by devotional service that you can achieve the mercy of Krishna. And that devotional service is not in a mechanical way. It's always looking to get the pleasure, for the pleasure of the spiritual master and the pleasure of Krishna. The verse is there, it's quoted in the Nectar Devotion, that one who continues to suffer the reactions of their past sinful activities, but at the same time, very feelingly and humbly continues to offer their respectful obeisances and prayers to the Lord of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that person is eligible to inherit the kingdom of God. So this is very nice thing. So this verse, Atapite Deva Padambujam Dvaya, it was spoken by Lord Brahma to Lord Krishna in his prayers, and it was also spoken at a different time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first went to Puri. I think many of you know that he came there and he entered the temple of Jagannath, and he came with some of his associates. One of those associates was Gopinath Acharya, who was the brother-in-law of the Raj Pandit, the king's priest, and that person was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya went to the temple of Jagannath, and seeing the beauty of the lotus face of Lord Jagannath, he fainted in samadhi. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had tested some of the Chokidharas. They thought he was an imposter, so they wanted to beat him, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya intervened and he checked him and he said, well, actually this person is a very advanced state of samadhi. So he brought him back to his home, brought back to his home. And later the devotees who were a little bit behind Lord Chaitanya caught up and they did Harinam and they woke Lord Chaitanya up. But then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was talking with Gopinath Acharya, and he was saying, well, this is a very, very nice person, he must be very interested in spiritual life. So best thing is, why don't I initiate him into a higher order of sannyas? You know this because there's a, just like in among doctors, there's a pecking order. The heart surgeons are up here, and psychiatrists are down on the bottom. So among sannyasis, there's also a pecking order. The top sannyasis are the Saraswati. There's like Dayanand Saraswati. They're considered top. Where Lord Chaitanya, he was initiated in the sannyasi in the the Bharati Sampradaya, which was considered a lower Sampradaya among sannyasis. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was saying that he would reinitiate him into this higher order of sannyas and teach him Vedanta, because here's this young man who's very attractive, and it'll be very difficult for him in this, with his very handsome, attractive body to maintain his sannyas. So I'll teach him, I'll instruct him, so it'll solidify his renunciation. So Gopinath Acharya, who was there, he said, "You have no idea. This person is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he doesn't have any need for sannyas. He's doing this sannyas just so he can preach to others." So Gopinath Acharya, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was quite skeptical. And along with his students, they said, "Well, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We understand our evidence by logic and argument." So Gopinath Acharya said, "You will never be able to understand the Supreme Lord by your logic and argument." And then he quoted this verse, "Atapi te deva padambujam dvaya." If you can get a drop of the mercy of the Supreme Lord, that way you can understand him. Otherwise, by logic, by argument, by study of the Vedas, by austerity, it won't be possible. So devotional service or bhakti yoga is that method by which we can we're humbly attempting to get that mercy of the Lord through his empowered representative. And this attitude to approach the Lord is very important. It was very often the case during Srila Prabhupada's manifest pastimes that a devotee would, for example, some of you know the devotee named Brahmatirtha. There's a book called Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. You've seen that book, yeah. Anyway, Brahmatirtha Prabhu, that's my godbrother, he was working as a Peace Corps representative in India. And it just so happened that while he was in Calcutta, there was a big pandal program put on by the devotees, and Srila Prabhupada was there. So somehow he had an idea, let him go. And then right there was a taxi with a devotee in it, and he asked him, "Can I come along with you to this pandal program?" So he went there. So anyway, he was able to meet with Srila Prabhupada, and he asked all kinds of questions in a very humble spirit, and Prabhupada answered them, and he was given some favor by Srila Prabhupada. So then maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, he decided to actually take up devotional service. So he came to the temple in New York in 1976 when Srila Prabhupada was there. And he was thinking, he said, this is his words, not mine. In his mind, he was thinking, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada would be very happy now. I'm engaged in devotional service. I'm very important now. He'll like that." And he said that Srila Prabhupada ignored him. And according to him, the reason for him ignoring it was because he had this attitude that I'm thinking I'm very great, I'm very wonderful, so he has to accept my service and like that. So in our execution of devotional service, it's really important for us to know, like Sudama, like Brahmatirtha Prabhu realized, we really don't have anything we can offer of value to Krishna. Krishna has everything, but we can offer our sincere and humble service, hoping that he will take whatever he can from us just by his mercy. And by that, and if he does that, So Sudama, Krishna took a little bit of that poha, and the results were incredible, incredible. So if we can satisfy Krishna with just a little bit of our sincerity, then the results will be amazing for each one of us individually and collectively as well. Questions, comments? No? Okay. Shall we do the next verse? Next verse.
That's Sanskrit as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Avatara hyashankyeya hare sattva nide dvija yatha vidasina kulya sahar sarasa shu sahasrasha. O learned Brahmins, just as hundreds and thousands of small ponds issue from the great reservoirs of water, innumerable incarnations flow from Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the reservoir of all power. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:3-26.
প্রথমেই করে কৃষ্ণ পুরুষ অবতার, সেই তো পুরুষ হয় ত্রিবিধ প্রকার।
In the beginning, Krishna incarnates himself as the Purusha avatars, or Vishnu incarnations. These are three types. Purport. Up to this verse, the many types of expansions have been described. Now, the manifestation of the Lord's different potencies will be described. This is Sanskrit?
Sanskrit, yes.
Vishnostu trinirupani purushakyani atovidhu ekam tu mahata shishtir dvitiyam hi andasangstanam triyam sarvabhutastan tam gyadva vimuchyate. Vishnu has three forms called Purushas. The first, Mahavishnu, is the creator of the total material energy, Mahat. The second is Garbhodakshai, who is situated within each universe. And the third is Chirodakshai, who lives in the heart of every living entity. He who knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya. This verse appears in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Purvakanda, where it has been quoted from the Satvata Tantra. So we have those, those three Vishnus. They're called Purusha avatars. The first one, who is the source of all the universes, coming from his breathing and from the pores of his body, is named, what is his name?
Garbhodakasai.
No.
No, that's the next one.
Yeah, Mahavishnu is Mahavishnu. Yeah. For all from his breathing, all the universes are coming. So Mahavishnu is dealing with many, many universes, and he creates the material energy, the Mahatattva. Yeah. So he's also known as Karanadakshayi. Karana means cause, and Karanadaksha, the causal ocean. So this is material cause. Karanadakshayi, and then Karanadakshayi expands into each universe.
That's good.
As Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So the universe is like a Garbha means
Womb.
Yeah. So it's like the womb, and Garbhodakshayi Vishnu lies down. There's in the water on the bottom of the universe, and from his navel grows a cosmic lotus, and on that lotus, the first being is born, Brahma. So then that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is within he's within this universe, and in every universe there's a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expands as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu has his residence in Swetadweep or Dhruvalok on the Milk Ocean. He also is expanded into the hearts of every living being. Sarvasya chaham Riddhi Shani Vishto Mata Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. From him come knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, and also within the atom and between the atom. That's all Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Yes.
অনন্ত শক্তি মধ্যে কৃষ্ণের তিন শক্তি প্রধান, ইচ্ছা শক্তি, জ্ঞান শক্তি, ক্রিয়া শক্তি নাম।
Krishna has unlimited potencies, out of which there are three are chief: willpower, the power of knowledge, and the creative energy.
ইচ্ছা শক্তি প্রধান কৃষ্ণ, ইচ্ছায় সর্বকর্তা, জ্ঞান শক্তি প্রধান বাসুদেব, অধিষ্ঠাতা।
The predominator of the willing potency is Lord Krishna, for by his supreme will everything comes into existence. In willing, there is a need for knowledge, and that knowledge is expressed through Vasudev.
ইচ্ছা জ্ঞান ক্রিয়া বিনা না হয় সৃজন, তিনের তিন শক্তি মেলি প্রপঞ্চ রচন।
There is no possibility of creation without thinking, feeling, willing, knowledge, and activity. The combination of the supreme will, knowledge, and action brings about the cosmic manifestation.
ক্রিয়া শক্তি প্রধান শঙ্কর্ষণ বলরাম, প্রাকৃত সৃষ্টি করেন নির্মাণ।
Lord Sankarshan is Lord Balaram. Being the predominator of the creative energy, he creates both the material and spiritual worlds.
অহংকারের অধিষ্ঠাতা কৃষ্ণের ইচ্ছায় গোলক বৈকুণ্ঠ সৃজে চিৎশক্তি দ্বারায়।
The original Sankarshan, Lord Balaram, is the cause of both the material and spiritual creation. He is the predominating deity of egotism, and by the will of Krishna and the power of the spiritual energy, he creates the spiritual world, which consists of the planet Goloka Vrindavan and the Vaikuntha planets.
যদ্যপি অসৃজ্য নিত্য চিৎশক্তি বিলাস, তথাপি শঙ্কর্ষণ ইচ্ছায় তাহার প্রকাশ।
Although there is no question of creation as far as the spiritual world is concerned, the spiritual world is nonetheless manifest by the supreme will of Sankarshan. The spiritual world is the abode of the pastimes of the eternal spiritual energy. I think that's pretty good for today. Do anybody have questions or comments, additions, subtractions?
Yeah,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
We can't hear.
Yeah, so Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I was just wondering while reading the Bhagavad Gita. So just for clarification, little clarification, Prabhuji, as you mentioned in the Mahavishnu expands as the Karnodaka Sai Vishnu and then Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and in the form of the Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, he comes under the heart of the all living beings, and so he resides in the as a super soul. So when we were reading through this, I was reading through 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So 9.4 is there. So where in the translation it is like, by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is provided. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So, but I am not in them. So is it a kind of Achintya Veda? I mean, kind of it's there, it is not there. So it is not very much clear to me, Prabhuji. If you can put light, if you can clarify a bit on this.
You're correct in your thought that it's Achintya Bhedabhed. Of course, Lord Krishna has many different energies and many different expansions. So within the material world, his expansions are there in the material energy, which is his separated energy, and also his, as you mentioned, his expansion is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But both of them, his separated energy and the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, are not Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In one sense, they are, because the energy and the energetic are not different, but there's still distinction. So you're correct. It's an Achintya Bhedabhed Tattva concept.
Nice. Thank you for
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question from last week,
Okay.
where you mentioned about the yugas, this getting flipped, the Treta Yuga and Dwapar Yuga. I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, it's not easy to understand. Usually the 4 ages are Satya, Dvapara, Treta, and Kali. But for some reason, and I didn't investigate, I think Vrindavaneshwari Radha, she was asking, but it's described in Srimad Bhagavatam, in this particular cycle of 4 ages, Treta came before Dvapara, which is
that's in this
particular one. Yeah, usually it's the Satya, Dvapara, Treta, and Kali, but for there's a reason for it. Since it's been asked twice, I'll research it, and I will definitely find out this. I don't think that Srila Prabhupada in any books that I know mentions the specific reason. It's just he mentions it in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. But there's some other information that people say, and I'll get that for you.
That'd be great, Prabhu. Thank you. I was wondering about that still too.
Okay, yeah. I'm delinquent a little bit. I apologize. Sure.
No worries.
Anything else?
Can we discuss back this 3 Shaktis, Kriya Shakti, and what are the 3?
Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and what's the will one? Icha Shakti.
Icha Shakti, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Icha Shakti is basically is referring to mind, function of mind, right? Thinking, feeling, and willing. Was it Pradyumna or Aniruddha? I forgot.
What, mind?
Yeah, for the mind is Pradyumna or Aniruddha one of the personality?
As far as I understand it, you're talking about the mind of the conditioned soul. There's a predominator of that. I'm not sure that this is the same.
Yeah, but the same mind also has the thinking, feeling, and willing.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so this is the spiritual mind we are talking.
Yes.
Mind, yeah.
Yeah.
And who is Kriya? Can you? I missed Kriya Shakti. What he does with Kriya Shakti? He manifests the objects.
He manifests the spiritual world and the material world. Yeah.
Okay. And that we refer as, again, that's Balram expansion, isn't it?
He's the
Sandhini Sakti.
Those are different set. That's a different set.
Sandhini and Kriya will be different.
Yeah, those are a different set. Parasya Shakti Vividai Vishuyate. You know, there's lots and lots of different energies, and we can categorize them differently, and they're not necessarily exclusive. But this set is a different set than the other set, that like the Pladidi, the pleasure-giving potency. Those are different. That's a different set of Shaktis. As far as that's my understanding. Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's any announcements from our sponsor.
No, not today.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice, as always.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Vishnugada.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.